Welcome back everybody to the post-fight recap here on Cucuy TV for UFC's 249 main event between Tony "El Cucuy" Ferguson and the human highlight reel Justin Gaethje. Justin Gaethje ends up defeating Tony Ferguson by stoppage, by TKO actually. The referee stepped in as Tony Ferguson simply could not take anymore after the final flush jab that landed right on his nose bone. He was just shook up and he just kind of turned away, and from there on he was just, if it wasn't for the referee stepping in, then it was just going to be Justin Gaethje pouring it on him, and it was just going to be the end of that fight anyway. It was a terrific performance. Starting the fight, Tony Ferguson was doing just great, right? Coming forward, a lot of teep kicks that really were stinging him, but at the same time, every single time in an exchange, you saw Justin Gaethje just going for the left hook, right? And after the first couple was landed, it took some while for him to adjust, recalculate, and then throw it again and have it connect. And it was only right after the second round where he was able to kick Tony Ferguson's legs that he was able to take away the teep kicks from Tony. And once he took away the teep kicks, then you had Tony Ferguson essentially just having to keep both legs on the mat and not really start kicking, because the more he started to kick, the more he got reply with Justin Gaethje coming into the danger zone and hitting him with either a left hook, right hand, or the leg kicks. This is the most, I would have to say, this is one of those beatdowns that you just rarely see in this higher level of mixed martial arts. The last time I can recall something like this occurring was when Rory McDonald fought Robbie Lawler. It is one of those things where you just have to sit down and think about how good one person is. And right now, Justin Gaethje has just proven himself that he had the style to beat him. Going into this fight, I knew that two offensive fighters who are destructive, when they collide, one of them is just going to get the worst of it. And whoever is going to get the worst of it is going to lose, right? I knew that, for example, Anthony Pettis, when he fought Tony Ferguson, leg kicks were sometimes effective. But nobody is throwing leg kicks like Justin Gaethje does. And whenever these two were in the middle of the octagon and they were kind of in the pocket where you could throw the leg kicks, Justin Gaethje threw him. He just kept throwing him. He just kept, I cannot overemphasize the damage those leg kicks alone must have done to him. I mean, both of Tony Ferguson's shins were cut, let alone his shins. His the right side of his face was cut, the left eyebrow was cut, bruised up, banged up, battered. Every time there was an exchange, it was just, you could just hear Justin Gaethje go in there, load up on a left hook, just go in all the way, and he just kept connecting. He kept connecting, he kept taking him. He just kept coming forward, but with each big blow that Justin Gaethje was able to land, the output just started to diminish a little bit. And the spirit, I wouldn't say got kind of dimmed, but you could just see the spirit of Justin Gaethje rising up. And when you see a fighter just gaining confidence and getting better, that's a dangerous fighter. Going into the second round, which was the round that Justin Gaethje was landing a lot of shots, but at the end of the round, he got dropped with a beautiful right uppercut. And at that time, I thought to myself, look, going into the second round already, he was breathing heavy in his corner. So when he got dropped at the end, I was like, okay, this may be the time he's going to start really slowing down. But his ability to slow it down was not overwhelmed with Tony Ferguson putting the pressure on him. He still was able to keep himself in enough exchanges to have Tony Ferguson respect him and not ambush him. And with that, in between those waiting periods, leg kicks just kept connecting. He was just driving through on those leg kicks right through the knee. And for somebody like Tony Ferguson, when you're fighting somebody like Justin Gaethje, who is naturally a bigger fighter, a stronger fighter, getting kicked by somebody like that is one thing. Getting kicked by Justin Gaethje's leg kicks is just another ballgame. He has stopped people with leg kicks, Justin Gaethje in the WSOF. He has done that. And, going into a fight like this, I thought maybe leg kicks are going to be the deciding factor, but I didn't really realize how often these two would just recenter the fight. Nobody was too keen on really pressing one another. Whenever it came to an opportunity where Tony Ferguson could pressure, it never really came down to Tony Ferguson's pressure. It was always Justin Gaethje. Whenever he could really press Tony Ferguson, he didn't go all the way. He just kept himself composed. And with that just meant guaranteed winning of the exchanges anyway. I believe in the second or third round, we had Justin Gaethje land a terrific shot and he was backing up Tony Ferguson. And as Justin Gaethje was coming forward, he was getting clipped. So I think having that happen early on in the fight was a very good wake-up call for him. Because if it happened any later, maybe he could have gotten a little bit more excited, a little bit more careless, and, reckless, and he might have gotten clipped with something more crucial and devastating. And with that, he just ended up getting a quick reality check, a quick reminder, which helped him stretch out his space, stretch out his damage, and just continue on fighting for 5 rounds straight. Now, at this point, we might have to think that Justin Gaethje is one of those fighters that has the right style to beat certain fighters. Personally, going to this fight, I thought that Tony Ferguson's outside fighting would be enough to earn Justin Gaethje's respect. But even though he earned his respect, Justin Gaethje didn't really care all too much. He just kept firing back. He just kept going. And that's a fighter's fighter right there, putting it all on the line. Many people get discouraged when they fight Tony Ferguson, so I thought that may be the case as well. And all those teep kicks that Tony Ferguson was landing, I thought he was just going to keep it up all fight long, but no, after those leg kicks, Tony didn't really lift up his legs anymore. And that's so impressive. Imagine taking away a tool of Tony Ferguson. Imagine just discouraging him from doing something. That's so huge. That's so big. Tony Ferguson has been on a 12-fight win streak, the longest in the division. That's insane. Nobody's ever really been able to do that. He took away the explosivity by just chopping down the legs. He took away speed. He took away variety. He took away everything. He took away the Imanari roll, and at that point, there was literally nothing else Tony Ferguson had in store for him. The composed game plan that Justin Gaethje put forth was just brilliant. You can't discredit him. And when the fight was just coming to an end and you saw both sides of Tony Ferguson's face cut, both of his shins cut, you just looked at him, damn bro, that's insane. That's one of those fights where you just think damn, that's just a fight where you think, okay, this is just a beatdown. This will go down as a beatdown, because even though there was some activity coming, there was just nothing really that was damaging Justin Gaethje. Yeah, sure, the body shots were devastating, but other than that, what was there? And at the end of the fight, it was just beautiful. Just a clean jack. The end of the fight is just a symbol of where Justin Gaethje is right now. Patience. Justin Gaethje is just something else, people. Calm, composed, powerful. Justin Gaethje is a powerful fighter, powerful striker. People may look at a fighter like Conor McGregor, but Conor McGregor's power strikes are very accurate, very clean, very nice setup, and it's not always consistently power shots that he throws. This guy, Justin Gaethje, every shot he throws is mean intentions. It's like Francis Ngannou. Every shot he loads up, every shot he lands, and the leg kicks, it's just unreal. Now, ending the fight and him becoming the new interim world champion, he immediately took the strap off and put it away. That's just what I like to see, right? I feel like a lot of these fighters who are not A-level fighters or like the elite of their division, they kind of, sell themselves on the idea, look, I finally became a world champion. And I've never really liked it, If you don't beat the champion, you're not really the champion. Unless the champion is retiring or, not having the title anymore, then you are the real champion. But until then, don't, get yourself in that mood of like, oh, look, I climbed the mountain or something. Because I don't really like that mentality, and because it's just something that the UFC uses to just promote the event. And in this case, it was the right thing to do because Khabib just couldn't make the fight. And with that, I feel like Justin Gaethje is not like in that mindset of like, oh, look, I finally became UFC champion. He just threw it away because he knew the real champion is waiting over there in Russia. So he's getting himself prepared. Justin Gaethje versus Khabib Nurmagomedov is a brilliant fight. I always looked at Justin Gaethje as a fighter who can really put up a great threat to Khabib Nurmagomedov. If you think and look at Justin Gaethje, what do you see? You see a fighter who is hard to move around. He just stands on the ground hard, chops down your legs, hooks, right hands, powerful. And when you take a look at Khabib, you think of mechanically sound, strong in power positions, able to deploy beautiful game plans, outsmart his opponents. But this time around, facing somebody like Justin Gaethje who has serious strength, serious power, great wrestling, great power, great leg kicks, and has shown he can go 5 rounds now. But against Khabib Nurmagomedov, is he going to be able to keep him off of him? One thing I do know for certain though, is that Khabib, if he comes into this fight, and if he's going to be facing somebody like Justin Gaethje, there are a lot more tools that he has to worry about than just having Tony Ferguson's crazy arsenal. Because right now, he has to first know how to earn Justin Gaethje's respect in the octagon, because Khabib has always had the strength advantage over Tony Ferguson, but against Justin Gaethje, that's a bit tougher. So Khabib Nurmagomedov has to instantly go in there and show his superiority in the grappling department. If he can't, and if he gets clipped, and if he gets caught, those strong jabs, those strong overhands, those strong leg kicks, they will set in and they will hurt him. I don't know what the fight is going to look like, but I do know that aside from like Dustin Poirier, the top 3 in the lightweight division is a beautiful triangle. Conor, Tony, and Khabib. It's just awesome. It's a great time for the UFC lightweight division, and it's just a very exciting period overall as us spectators. I would say this is the golden age of the lightweight division. I thank you all for watching. As always, I have been Keenan from Keenan KTV, signing off. Later.